I promise. Recession's even more likely than ever.
Not the majority of them aren't saying that. Come on, don't make things up, okay? Now you sound like a Republican politician. I'm joking. That was a joke. That was a joke. But all kidding aside, no, I don't think it is.
We don't have a lot of time, guys, because we have to leave at 1:45, I believe, for the president's local travel. Okay. Well, thank you, guys. Well, I actually have to go with him today, so I can't stay. But I'll take one more question. I'll take a question. Phil, I know you had you had a question. No? Oh, you're passing. You're passing. Okay.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Try this again using syllables. The Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
He can to alleviate the pain that.
Same time, my dear mother used to have an expression: "If everything lousy, something good will happen if you look hard enough for it." Mm-hmm. We have a chance here to make a fundamental turn toward renewable energy. Electric vehicles, and not just electric vehicles, but across the board. And that's something we should be. My team is going to be sitting down with the CEOs of the major oil companies this week and try to get an explanation how they justify making $35 billion in the first quarter.
Are you planning to sit down with oil and gas CEOs,
No.
Mr. President? Why is that, sir?
Because my team's going to do that.
Okay, but you did that with retailers and logistics companies and consumer companies.
Because I had it already done.
How can they cut more?
The President said last week that there's no inevitability around a recession, but there is a greater deal of market concern about exactly that. And I know that inflation is your number one concern, but can you talk a little bit about if you're doing anything at all to prevent a recession or a rise in unemployment?
So the way that we see this, and you've heard us talk about this, that we're in a moment of transition. We have seen we are in a unique situation with the historical gains with our economy. Household balance sheets remain strong. Have seen from this past year, from the action that the president has taken with the American Rescue Plan, with what we have seen with the historical gains, that is going to help us deal with a recession. Right now, we don't see a recession. Right now, we're not in a recession right now. Right now, we're in a transition where we are going to go into a place of stable and steady growth, and that's going to be our focus.
Market, but a growing number of economists have raised the odds of a significant slowdown. According to the Wall Street Journal's latest poll of 53 leading economists, there is a 44% chance the U.S. is in a recession within the next year. We've already seen American consumers, they are anxious, they are cutting back, and while this can help drive prices lower, it also hits the economy. We're a consumer-driven economy, Robin. 70% of our economic growth comes from how we behave.
Anything will President Biden be asking G7 leaders to do next week to bring down the cost of energy and bring down the cost of food?
I'm not going to get ahead of the agenda too much today.
That you think that they can do working in coordination to prevent a global recession?
I think leadership matters a lot here. Less dependence, and this is one of the reasons, the president is so committed to clean energy here in this country. That's one way of making us energy independent too. So advancing, it's also good for the climate. So
when it comes to the federal gas tax, former President Obama has called it a gimmick back when it was being considered during his administration. A number of Republican and Democratic congressional leaders over the years have said the same thing. It saves people a couple of dollars when they fill up, but it decimates the highway trust fund. Why is it suddenly on the table for this president when it seemed like it was an idea that the White House had sort of set to the side for months?
Well, the president has always said all options are on the table.
And the president said he's not planning to sit down with any oil and gas CEOs as he makes this decision. Why not?
So as I can confirm here, I know it's been kind of been reported out there, Secretary Granholm is going to be meeting with the 7 CEOs on Thursday, this coming Thursday. That's the first step that he wanted to make sure happened.
But the president's not ruling out meeting with them.
No, the president spoke to this himself yesterday, which is like he's not going to be meeting with the CEOs. I'll let that stand and speak.
Americans are happy, it would seem, to go out
I see what
and
you're
to
saying.
pay as much money as gas costs to go on vacation and do all of the things that they would normally do. In fact, more so than in the past. So what do you think about that? And do you think it's appropriate given the constraints on energy supplies globally?
I mean, but I have to say, a lot of that is thankful to the president and the work that he has done to make sure that give relief to the American public, especially as they are looking at gas prices at the pump. This is a #1 priority for the president. He's looking at an array of options. We don't have anything specific for you to share with you at this time. Absolutely, we would definitely, as I said, need Congress to act on this. I can't lay out. I don't have anything to lay out on any outreach that we've made to Congress. The president, as you all know, understands the stress that the American public is feeling across the country. This is why he has taken action himself when it comes to tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, a historic amount of oil, 1 million of barrels of oil a day, I should say, just to be exact, and also getting his partners to do 240 million barrels as well. There's the ethanol 15, as he has been able to make sure that we give relief to thousands of Americans across the country. So this is something that has been a complete priority for the president. I don't have anything specific to lay out about meetings.
Hey, thanks, Karine. John, the Chinese have imported a record amount of oil from Russia, and the trade between the two countries is growing. What message do you have to the Chinese related to this?
I think this is just a piece of China's willingness to continue to go along with Russia, and we're seeing this as yet another example of a growing collaboration between China and Russia with respect to Ukraine. And we have, as we've said at the outset, called on China to be a responsible power here. And
Point, do they rise to the level where they're breaking sanctions or pushing the line for those sanctions that the U.S. Would like to impose?
well, again, they haven't been participants in the sanction regime so far.
Go ahead, you do the follow-up.
Thanks, John. Also, India has been buying a lot of the Russian oil that the Europeans aren't buying. So how does the administration keep financial pressure on Russia? And what does this say about U.S.-Indian relations that Prime Minister Modi is making these purchases?
Yeah, India is also a very key strategic partner in the Indo-Pacific region. And there's many ways that partnership represents